Hey, it is Robin Ellis, otherwise known as Inspired Robin, and I'm here talking about my MS diagnosis and how it led me to becoming an energy healer, intuitive, and Reiki master. And it wasn't a fast journey by any means. I was diagnosed with relapsing, remitting multiple sclerosis back in, officially it was December 2007. It was the year that I was married, back in March of that year. And the diagnosis took about September, October, November. So it was 3 and a bit months. And it was around about this time of the year, September, which I'm recording this now, 18 years ago, that my symptoms happened. And the symptoms that were diagnosing me were my legs going numb, and I had a lot of depression and anxiety happening in my world. I went to the doctor. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I was very upset at the time, obviously, because I'd been in bed. Literally, I worked at a fitness club as a member care manager, and I'd been on the treadmill that morning running, and the fittest I'd ever been in my life that I can recall. Liking running for the first time ever, really. Doing a lot of personal training. And then I was in bed reading a book, and my legs just wouldn't wake up. You know when your legs go to sleep and you're standing up and you're stomping your feet trying to wake up your foot, and it wouldn't wake up, which was rather concerning. And so I cried to the doctor the next day, took a day off sick, and made an appointment and was sent for an MRI. The first MRI machine was broken, so I had to wait again to get into an MRI. And when the results came through, they said to me it was textbook MS. In the waiting time for that to happen, the doctor had said to me, it's either a tumour on your spine or MS. That's what I'm thinking it's going to be. And I was hoping for the latter, because I didn't exactly want to be dealing with some sort of tumour issue on my spine. And that seemed to be the worst case scenario. So from there, I went straight down the path of neurologists and going on medication. And the medication I chose was a daily injection of Copaxone. And I did this for 14 months. In that time, I found it really difficult to continue working at a fitness club, as great as it was to be able to have a membership at a gym and things like that. I'd been dealing with a lot of people that had come in to cancel memberships with MS, and they'd had worst case scenarios of being on walking frames or, wearing nappies, that kind of thing. And I could see myself going down a spiraling path to that sort of a disability, and that makes my head spin just saying that, but that's the rabbit hole you go down. I went down the path of going to MS groups, support groups, and having the whole, you need to have your happy pills, your anti-depressants. That's what keeps us going. And people still going through the diagnosis phase and it taking forever. And the stress of that, going down Dr. Google and looking up all the things that could be my future. Watching people at the gym at the time doing the exercises that I'd been told that weren't going to be for me anymore because I overheated. I had a heat intolerance, the fatigue, and all that kind of stuff that would exacerbate my MS and inflammation. Stuff that I'd just started to love doing, like going up and down stairs with a heavy weight on your hands, up and down, you know the drill, like. So I started doing more Pilates and more yoga, which is what I was advised, and I went to a 8-week meditation class, and slowly but surely my husband helped me get another job, which was doing export customer service analyst job at Toyota down in Victoria. That's where we lived at the time. And so I did that. I went and got a desk job. I did Qigong, and I started learning to self-inject my medication. It would take me probably half an hour every morning. The process was cold packs, injections, sitting with a cold pack, waiting for it to stop stinging and burning and to do its thing. The occasional time I would inject it with a self-injector because I just did not learn to do it without the little machine to put it in. Sometimes putting it in the arm would go into a vein and then I'd have heart palpitations and get hot. So it got to close to 12 months and we decided to take a 10-week trip around the world on a world ticket. We went to the USA, to Germany, and to South Africa, which is where my husband's from. Both of us had lived in the US. So we did Las Vegas and down to Florida and then up the East Coast to New York, stopping a few places on the way, visiting some people that were dear to us, doing the Disney thing down in Florida. Never done Disney before until then, so that was pretty cool. We got Disneyed out. And then South Africa was the ultimate wow. It was so good to go on a Kruger Park exploration safari with my in-laws and see animals in the wild, and a lot of the rain in Africa, and it was Christmas time, thunderstorms and lightning and all that energy, and just sitting there thinking about life and what we wanted next, where we were going to go. 12 months on from being diagnosed with MS, married for nearly 2 years, and we decided we're going to have children. So I got home and I did not want to be on antidepressants. I did not want to be on injections or any of that stuff while I was growing a baby. So on recommendation, 3 months before we started trying of me detoxing and going off the medications, which was great, but scary at the same time because you've got in your mindset things can go wrong if you're not taking the stuff. The stuff is there to help you to not get disability or have a flare-up or, get worse with your symptoms. And I haven't even explained how I'd had symptoms in the years leading up to the diagnosis. Different things like carpal tunnel kind of feeling in the left arm, a lot of anxiety attacks, depression, bowel issues, bladder issues, you name it. Over the years, I'd gone up and down, relapsed and remitted symptoms in the years leading up to that diagnosis as well. So we went off the meds. We got pregnant fairly fast. I had my baby in 2010. And then by the time she was 5 months old, I was feeling it was coming on to September again, this time of the year, and it feels relevant to be talking about it this time of the year. I'd had a flare-up when I was pregnant at this time of the year. I had a flare-up after we'd just got back from South Africa with a little baby newborn. My husband had worked at a job at Ford and he got a job over in South Africa for 8 weeks working in Pretoria. So we went over there and took the opportunity to introduce her to her grandparents. So that was really cool with a little baby. And she flew so good little traveller. Off topic here. But then, because it was coming up to September and that time and things flaring up again, that lack of sleep when you have a young baby who's just starting to eat solids, you're breastfeeding. I stopped breastfeeding and went back on my medication. And I did that for another 14 months until I was at an MS walk with my little one. And we met people that had had this procedure called chronic cerebral spinal venous insufficiency, and I decided to get my Doppler check in my neck, in my jugular veins, and see whether that I did have the blood vein, insufficient blood draining out problem that they found was something that was contributing to MS symptoms. And I did. This side was going out but going back, so it was refluxing as they called it, and this side was blocked, the left side. So I had my balloon venoplasty done and it opened up my jugular veins and the blood flow improved. I could see colours again. My feelings in my hands, I'd had to like use thermometers when making babies bath or bottles, really checking carefully, because that sensory being able to feel for me, pins and needles, being able to feel heat or cold or anything like properly in my hands was not really there very well. And so it came back. I got my energy back. And so I started going to the gym again. Had a 1-year-old into the gym, found a personal trainer who was very good with chronic illness and did a lot of research to help me. Did a lot of Pilates moves and yoga moves, interestingly, in my training. I went on 2 12-week transformation challenges. And from that first process of CCSVI, I decided to stop taking the Copaxone injections at another 14-month interval, much to my neurologist being disgusted with that, I think. Anyway, my MRI that year had come back with improvements and I was feeling great. So I put 2 and 2 together and decided I'm going to do this without the medication and just go with the exercise and doing the transformation challenges. I cleaned up a lot of my diet as well. And so there the experiments started to happen with lifestyle things until a couple of years down the track, 2 transformation challenges later, going down the path of continually getting the Dopplers done on my neck just whenever I'd start feeling a bit like things were getting worse again. It got to about 6 goes or 5 goes technically. And then we had to go in twice for the last one. And this side was fully blocked. It had closed up from the scarring of doing it so many times to open up the jugular vein with a balloon, that it was no longer viable for me to have this procedure done successfully anymore. And so that had me thinking, what do I do now? What do I do now? I don't want to go back on the medications. I've been feeling good with this alternative stuff, and I'm seeing more things opening up in my world about alternative ways, diet and lifestyle, that had been thrown at me before I'd even really could deal with reading about it or looking into it. And so I started the quit sugar diet. That was really trendy back then. I think it was about 2014. And so I did quit sugar for about a year. And I noticed some change, but not a lot. I'd already been doing Michelle Bridges recipes and things like that to lose weight. I lost about 15.5 kilograms in those transformation challenges and doing the gym work and everything. So that was working for me in that respect of things. I'm in my mid-30s to late 30s. And so quitting sugar wasn't doing it for me. Then I remembered the Overcoming MS lifestyle. I was doing a personal development business at the time too, and I'd been talking to a lot of people with MS in that journey who were inquiring about what I was doing and working with me. So I thought, let's look into this because it does seem valid. So I went to the retreat. There was one happening November 2015, and I got a ticket. I got a week there. I started reading the book that I'd been given when I was first diagnosed. It all started to make sense. It was all dropping down for me. It was all like, yes. And I went to that retreat and it blew my mind. It went through so much information and more, not just with the food side of things, but also the meditation side, the laughter therapy, the fitness therapy. I'd been to lots of MS things, but it hadn't really drummed in. Sometimes when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and I really hadn't been ready to be embracing all that stuff. I'd been blocked. So yes, I did this, and then we decided we're going to move. We want to move locations. We had already sold up our house and decided we were going to move somewhere to the countryside or something like that. We knew lifestyle was a big factor for me. The stress and that sort of thing was very much something we needed to focus on alleviating. And our daughter was, in her first year at school at the time. So we went on a holiday up here to Queensland and fell in love with the Sunshine Coast. And so January that year we moved up here, and we haven't looked back at all, really. And moving up here led me to the next breadcrumbs in my healing journey, and that was networking with other business owners, women, on the Sunshine Coast, and then meeting my Reiki master teacher. But no, slow burn, Robin. Didn't jump in straight away. Probably took about a year after meeting her for me to reach out and start going to meditation circles and decide to learn Reiki level 1. And this was in 2018. How did it help me on my healing journey? When I got to this point, I'd done so much with my lifestyle. I'd discovered medical medium. I was getting supplements for NRF1 and 2. There was just a lot of stuff that I'd been doing differently in my life that was working really well for me. And then I did this, Reiki level 1, which is all about getting in touch with the self-healer in you, the energy around us. Ground, connect, protect our energy. Putting bubbles of protection over us. I've been doing yoga quite consistently for a number of years leading up to that point. And just attuning to level 1. It opened up a lot of things around me, the joy side of life. The being able to recognize when things don't feel right and off, and to question it, and to know and feel in yourself, or in with the pendulum, the answers to, is it mine? Is it not mine? Is it mine? And just getting answers on things going on in my life and really becoming more self-aware. It didn't take me long to want to do level 2. I started practicing just the self-healing on my body, meditating on my bed every day nearly for a number of weeks and months, and just placing my hands on different body parts that were numb or pained or hurting, or calling me to be tuning into them. It had me working through so much. I'd already done a lot of personal development work through a lot of depression, anxiety, mindset, things like that, body stuff. But this was different. This was like the energy side of me, the side that you can't see, but you feel it. And the side that had me realizing I'm an empath, and that was affecting me in some ways. That was affecting my health outcomes and my health in general, and why things were the way that they were. At yoga, I met someone who did a healing on me, who was also Reiki trained, and channeled intuitively things about my childhood life and why the MS numbed me. It wasn't me doing it for myself, but it was me that led me to her to facilitate that intuitive download that I needed to hear from someone outside of myself, because I wasn't hearing it from my guides, because I was still a bit blocking stuff, which we do. That's why we have people like the beautiful Kate, who did that healing for me, who could see why I numbed things out, because I didn't know how to deal with this empath side of me, this feeler that could sense things, sense stuff going on in other people and take it on in my body and energy. So there's a key there that Reiki level 1 teaches us about energetic protection and setting up a beautiful bubble of protection when we ground, connect and protect. We protect ourselves with a bubble of whatever color light you choose. You could use white light, diamond light, silver light to reflect back whatever energy is trying to come through, and protecting us by holding us out onto our hearts and our lower chakras, and grounding ourselves to the earth, to Mother Gaia, and just protecting our energy and asking. The whole process of asking, is it mine, when things aren't feeling right, or when you're going off, or things are just getting overwhelming, or your body's nervous system, which you're sensitive when you have MS and your nervous system's going off. Just questioning and asking that, and grounding, connecting, protecting, and asking, is it mine? Breathing it out, putting extra protection layers around you, and asking to clear it. Asking your guides of 100% pure divine light to clear that which is not yours. That icky feeling I'm feeling, that's not mine. I ask my guides of 100% pure divine light to clear that energy away and to protect me from it coming back at me. It's a lot of work like that. And it led me to learning more, slowly doing more, doing level 2, like I said, because I was called to do distance work and work on people's bodies and energy, and because that seems to be how the energy works through me. We all find out what's different. I found out I was seeing animal visions. That was the thing, level 1. I would hold people's feet a lot, and that seems to be a touch point for me. I'm a very hands-on healer. A touch point is holding feet, holding hips, holding shoulders. I was popping people's hips back into place, you name it. All sorts of things like that happening as I practiced on my friends and family, and just finding my way and finding the way that I do healing. And level 1 was the grounds and the groundwork, and is the level of energetic healing work that I go back to time and time again with what I do, because it's the hands-on connectedness to the energy and the body that is what level 1 brought for me as well. And that was mostly through working on myself and then working on friends and family, like I said. Yes, I know I'd see animal visions and be looking up animal meanings. What's that? Animals would come, I'd notice the signs when animals would come into my path. Or I'd see visions of an animal, and that would, because they're not all necessarily in Australia, and see the animal and see the demeanour of the animal, and whether it's happy or it's unhappy. And being unhappy kind of animal is like something's not right. There's something that needs to be cleared or worked through and, understood and cleared for somebody, because it's disturbance in the field. Just stuff like that was level 1, and it was so powerful. And it's basically what I come back to. It's the self-healer. It's the self-healing work we do on ourselves that we all have the ability to do if we just give ourselves the time to learn to talk and listen and hold our space for ourselves. And yeah, it's helped me to better get affinity with what works for me and question things in my world and in my life more about what is for me and what isn't for me. I mean, I can follow all these diets and lifestyle choices, but at the end of the day, it's learning to understand, is that for me or not for me? Because you learn to listen to your body and instinctively and intuitively know if what someone says is you need to do for you, is that for me or not? And I would try things, but then I would feel not like it's doing anything. And so it really helped me to tap in deep down and understand myself more. And so it's leading me to want to teach it. I've been resistant to teaching it, but that's for another vlog. This one's gone on for nearly 25 minutes now. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you understand the journey that I've been on and the background that led me to this. And I know it's been a bit of a long-winded story, and I like to just freestyle it and talk. So, and no curation sort of thing. But thank you for listening if you've got to the end, and I appreciate your time. If you feel called to do level 1, reach out to me, because I am in the process of reworking and setting myself up to teach one-to-one with my VIP clients. Not so much holding classes per se. I want to work one-to-one with people and help you to cultivate that inner healer for yourself if you so want to take on the beautiful energy that is Reiki and the beautiful connection that is self-healing. Bye for now. See you next time.